How frustrating is this? You know, when you watch Bahrain Quali and there are bits that you didn't see and notice, you got to re-watch it, and only then do you understand the clusterfudge that happened across 19 drivers on the grid. And I'm going to hold them accountable here, because this is supposed to be F1, the upper echelons of motorsport. There are no 20 drivers apparently better than those driving in F1. So what are we doing here then? This is the start of the new season. It's been the off season. These guys are meant to come back to Bahrain fresh and new, ready to go, zero unforced errors. But looking up and down the grid, that's all that I saw. Unforced errors. Exhibit A, Alpine. What's going on with them? Okay, so they are underinvested. They no longer have the personnel. Otmar is gone. But what's going on with that car? Underpowered to the tune of 20 or 30 brake. Overweight. What's the point at this stage? And then the FIA want to talk about Andretti on competitive grounds. This is bonkers at the moment. I don't even know what's going on. These lot are meant to be coming to get it, to challenge one Max Verstappen and Red Bull. With that, Ocon and Gasly's careers are a wasting. I mean, there's even a picture of Alpine in the pits where Red Bull are having to help them already. A race won. Ground zero. This is outrageous. Honestly, I'm looking at this in beggar's belief. And then we get to one Charles Leclerc. The fingertip god. His steering inputs are incredible. His ability on the brakes is amazing. Indeed, he's the quickest over one lap of those 20 currently on the grid, by all accounts. But there is such a thing as the clutch gene, and one Charles Leclerc apparently didn't have it today at Bahrain Quali. In Q2, he was able to bang out the fastest time of the session of all sessions. Ergo, had he done that lap in Q3, he would have been on pole. How frustrating is that? We know he's got it in him. The talent is there. But theory is theory, and if you can't execute this thing in practice, then what's the point? Q1 is only there so you can get into Q2. Q2 only there to get into Q3. Q3 is all that matters then. The rest is sunk cost. You mean to tell me you think you're going to challenge one Max Verstappen with that on day one? Unforced errors and missed opportunities. We're continuing to seize defeat from the jaws of victory again. Per the last 2 years. Nah, this is chaos. This is unrealistic. It's not going to happen. Have you seen Max Verstappen? Do you know who Max Verstappen is? The Bahrain pole is the 33rd of his career. That matches Jim Clark and Prost. Rarefied air. If there are any of these other 19 on the grid that think they're going to beat Max Verstappen easy, they need to have a word with themselves. It's not going to happen. A prerequisite of getting that done, of climbing that Max Verstappen mountain, is Nico Rosberg levels of commitment. You remember 2016? Nico didn't even see his family for a year. Come to get it, because otherwise there's no point. Fernando Alonso dropped his Aston Martin on 6th. His teammate Lance Stroll, by contrast, nowhere to be seen. That's the level of commitment that I'm talking about. Yeah, the other 18 need to take a leaf out of his book. And Max's lap wasn't even that good. There were mistakes. He had to correct a massive oversteer as an example. He didn't even think he'd put it on pole. He was heard apologising to his race engineer GP. So what does that tell you? To my noddy mind, that smacks of missed opportunity. One of the other 19 drivers, not named Max Verstappen, yet again seizing defeat from the jaws of victory. And to think that as recently as free practice, Max had been criticised for complaining about his seamless shift, that it wasn't working as he'd expected. Max too says he's here for a good time, not a long time, and that the 8 championship record isn't something that he's even interested in. He's got stuff to do outside of F1. But when asked about oversaturation with 24 races currently on the calendar, Max said he'd be likely to hang around longer if the number of races reduced. And my guess is that he's not the only driver that feels that way. And for all the Charles Tifosi out there that think Charles is the second coming and is beyond reproach, this isn't the first time he sees defeat from the jaws of victory, nor will it be the last. See Paul Ricard, see Imola, see Monaco damn near every year at this point. This is becoming a pattern of behaviour. Now, I know I'm being harsh on the chap, but he's 26 years old. Old enough surely to realise that things have got to change. Lest we forget, the career of athletes, let alone F1 drivers, is short. Time is a finite resource. He'll be 35 before he even realises, thinking, where did my career go? Why about that Max Verstappen era? Why was it never my turn? But then Charles, not the only one worthy of a bit of criticism for his showing today. Check out Sir Lewis Hamilton, who said post-race in the pen that he set up his car focused on race pace. That much race pace? I don't even know where the chap finished, nor did Toto Wolff, 7th, 9th, 8th. It's too low to even care. And the driver known as K-Mag also has to take some flack. Listen, if your teammate keeps out-qualifying you to the tune of 5 to 10 places, what's the point? And you can't even blame that Haas car anymore because they got the drip feed of overperformance from Ferrari. But in and amongst all the acrimony and furore around team principles, one George Russell, first of his name from Kingsley, Norfolk, manages to outperform. Now, the Lewis evangelist will tell me that I'm mad, lest I forget George's snaky ways. But you know what? I rate that fella. He's come to get 25 points from each and every single race weekend. And what else would you expect from an F1 driver? Self-serving in their nature. But all the while, George is cracking on, doing the best for him, optimising for his potential. I don't hate that. He's gone away in the off-season and he's done what he needs to do. He, for one, has come back ready, outperforming that Mercedes and putting it on the second row. Bravo, George. And oh, by the way, something is going on at Mercedes, because if you listen to George's response, he keeps reiterating the same thing. That W15 car has been built in Lewis's image. George Russell, was happy with the driving position. Lewis wasn't. They changed it. And when questioned on this stance at the driver's press conference, George only reiterated, unashamedly, is he trying to tell us something? And Lewis, when asked whether George has the leadership skills requisite to build a championship team around him, hesitated. Something going on here. And in other news, the Christian Horner saga continues to rumble on. Picture messages and texts were leaked that allegedly relate to the investigation between Horner and a female Red Bull employee. Stefano Domenicali and Mohammed bin Salman were seen meeting today on this topic. Indeed, Christian Horner was called into the meeting and seen returning to the pit wall. F1 fans globally wait with bated breath to see what comes out of the FIA and the FOM. You'd think if ever there were a time to strike at Max Verstappen and Red Bull, this would be then. Their vulnerable organisational underbelly exposed. Take advantage of this, surely. But ultimately, the gap between Red Bull and Ferrari in Quali was only 2/10. Tomorrow, though, is race day, and for the other 19 not named Max Verstappen, the world's watching.